The seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes, welcome aboard the Boise bus. It has been a Champions League night where we have not picked up any points, unfortunately. Away in Leipzig, it finished 3-1 to the home side. There was a couple of disallowed goals. Celtic probably had a couple of chances as well. You think maybe we need to start taking them. There was an injury to our captain. We're going to need to talk about what the aftermath could that be if it's serious. And we'll be looking at all aspects of the game as well. I hope everyone's not too deflated in the comments. Welcome aboard. Joined tonight by Phil McKinley and Johnny Loke. How the devil are you, lads? What's happening?
Not too bad, mate. All things considered, I guess. Not too bad.
Johnny, how's you, big man?
Football-wise, I've been better, I suppose. It's been a lot better football-wise. Personally, I'm doing absolutely fine, but yeah, a bit gutted about that tonight. Not surprised, being honest, but gutted all the same.
It was a weird one. I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to try to work out where I am on it and what I make of it all. I'm not sure if I felt at times like this was just us in the Champions League. Could be anyone in charge right now. And I'm trying not to think like that because we like to think right now, the manager we've got is going to set us on a different path, and we feel like we've seen sort of signs of that evolution already. So the more positive way, I think, is to look at it and go, unfortunately, because of the step up in level of competition, Phil, this is going to be very much like last season in Europe, even though it was only Europa League then. The reasons for last year were obviously it was a new side put together and we were adapting as a team, even play cohesively at this point, and we're playing Europa League football. This time round, I think the adaptation, as I kept saying in the summer, and I stand by it, was massive to be able to play in the Champions League, albeit you could argue it's a favourable group. Many people felt like that. But I think the Champions League standard, Phil, is just so high that maybe that's the positive way. The other way we could look at that, if that theory was right, is we could say we're still too open in Europe and there's no learning from mistakes on that. And is that the right way to go for the manager, unless he's got the tools to do so? Now, I think there's a massive gulf, I feel, Phil, between our best players in the creative department and what our best players are in the defensive department. Cameron Carter-Vickers aside. I think he is top draw in that.
Yep.
Callum McGregor's been converted to being the defensive midfielder. 3 midfielders that play the holding role have came in since. Abelgard gets a pass tonight because we know he's just coming in from the cold. The other 2 aren't up to it. So it's like, you know, has that area of the park been as strengthened as well as what the other areas? I'm not entirely sure. But one thing is for sure, all that being said, but we are getting chances in this competition. Our conversion rate is nowhere near what it is domestically. And that's coming as a cropper a wee bit. Defensively, again, from that perspective, make silly mistakes like Joe Hart's right, you get punished. It's that simple. This is, Phil, the harsh realities of trying to dine at Europe's top table. And one that we were all pretty vocal about, let's be honest, in the summer when it came to recruitment. And this is why those points were getting made at that time, Phil, because this competition, there are no hiding places, Phil. There's nowhere to get away. You can't just say, oh, well, it's Champions League and, you know, we'll be all right with those guys there. You're not always going to be like that. Sometimes you need to really tool up a manager for this competition. And it just, you know, I just think that we are a wee bit short right now.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack about tonight. I'm glad that when you did your open monologue there, you're summing it up pretty much the same that I feel. I think the best way to describe it is I'm a bit numb to it now because I feel like I've seen this before. I've read this chapter before. This is Celtic away from home in Europe, and this isn't just like something that just cropped up on us. This is going back a long time. It just feels like whenever Celtic do play an away game in Europe, we seem to become the most naive team in the world and make all of the routine mistakes that a team could make. We never seem to concede a goal that's an absolute worldie. It's always something of our own doing that usually causes it. And tonight, as we'll be going into detail on, there was plenty of our own doing that contributed to that one tonight. But yeah, it's another harsh lesson, another harsh reality in it. Astoundingly, though, somehow we're still in a position where we can still get through, but that's something we'll deal with, obviously.
Yep.
Right now, dealing with the here and now, yeah, that was a frustrating one to say the least. That's putting it lightly right now.
Johnny, Phil's touching on, you know, what the hopes and aspirations can still be of the group, and we will go into a wee bit of detail next. We think we've worked out, you know, the most fortunate of all circumstances ever. But Johnny, the thing is at this table, this is what I'm trying to say, you know, the Champions League is of a different level, Johnny, from Europa League football last year, which we didn't cover ourselves in glory in. It's a completely different stratosphere. With no disrespect to the SPFL, it just fucking is. The adaptation period, we're now at the midway point. We've got 1 point from 9 games. We have 2 goals. We got a good goal tonight. I really enjoyed tonight's goal. But do you feel Celtic, so far, having played all 3 teams, can still be hopeful that they can get a top 2? Or is it mere hope over actual belief that they can? Or do you still think there is a good chance?
I think personally, I think it's more we're hoping rather than expecting anything. I did put it in our group chat. I think when it went to 3-1, I said, "Well, that's it." Maybe a knee-jerk reaction at the time, but I put on the group. Well, that's no European football after Christmas, because when I seen that go in and like that, I just thought we're not even gonna get third. I thought to myself at the time. If we go back to the start of the group, and I think we spoke about it before it kicked off about what our hopes were, and we thought we had quite a decent group. We thought we had, you know, the glamour tie that we wanted in 2 possible teams that we could beat. Started to worry about this one tonight. If I'm being honest, I said to you off air before we came on, I started to worry about this game against Leipzig after they'd taken Real Madrid to 80 minutes. We thought we'd done quite well taking them to 60 minutes at home. They took them to 80 minutes and 89th minute, I think it was, before Madrid actually settled that game. And that was when we were sort of probably as close to our full strength as we would have hoped to be at the time. Of course, we hadn't lost Carter Vickers at the time. Now we've certainly lost McGregor for the majority of this game tonight. We might have lost him for another couple. We don't know yet. We don't know what the extent of the injury is. We don't know if Carter Vickers is going to be back. And I don't know whether he didn't put Gigi on from the start or bring him on out sooner, because he's still carrying an injury that I'm only going to chance it if I absolutely have to. If I don't have to play him, I'm not going to play him. I don't know which way Angie's fallen on that one, to be honest with you.
Well,
So I'm more in hope than expectation now, to be honest with you. At the minute, I might feel better. I might feel different tomorrow in the cold light of day, but at the minute, like you said, you used the perfect word there, Phil, naive. And we just can't get rid of it. And it annoys me, actually, when the television commentators going about, oh, it's 17 games or 18 games, whatever it is, since Celtic won in Champions League. I'm not saying I'm not bothered about it, but the ones that are relevant are the 3 we've just played under a new team, because most of these guys aren't involved in that record. So nothing to do with it. Yep. But they are involved in this one now. That's 3 games we've played, 2 goals. We only scored one of them, really, technically, according to FIFA, UEFA, I should say. So, more hope than expectation, if I'm being honest.
No, I think that's absolutely fair. I mean, Phil, the thing is with tonight's performance, at times, as you say, feels like you've seen the movie before, sort of thing. You've been in this chapter. I do still think Celtic's got a long way to go before they become streetwise at this level. Now, streetwise could be taken in many ways. You could look at streetwise being Cal Mack. You know, we've seen you do this when you got sent off just recently.
Yeah.
Pull the guy down.
Right.
I think Jota is in almost a similar situation with the goal, which was that volleyed cutback from their player, the fullback, the number 2. And Jota's kind of let him run off him. He should be able to see that Greg Taylor's went one in. There's loads of space there. You've got to go with him. And I think, again, streetwise there, I don't think so. And then I think as well with it comes, stop overthinking it when you're in front of goal. And I don't know if that's going to come with more experience at this level or what it is. But undeniably, the conversion rate up top is nowhere near as good as it can be. How is Ange going to get this team to become a streetwise Champions League team? There's 3 games to go. And of course, we could be all sitting at the end of it having qualified. And we'll all say, well, do you know what? It was a slow start. And then boom, that second half of the group, we turned it all around. No one's ruling that out, by the way. No one's ruling it out. But when we look at tonight and with what we've seen, I felt that RB Leipzig were a team that were vulnerable at the back. Okay. I think we will more than capable of putting goals past them. I just don't know if we've got the savvy to do it. That's what worries me about the home leg. I think we've seen enough tonight from Leipzig that, up front, there was some lovely 1-2 football they were playing, and maybe both the goals that were disallowed. I know one's offside by a ball here. I mean, fucking hell. And then the other one that he's ducked. I mean, I don't know. So it could have been a lot more goals for them. But I do think defensively can be got at. I just think Celtic need to just get a wee bit more streetwise in this group, and fast if we're to hold any hope.
Funny enough, when McGregor was running alongside that boy, that's exactly what was going through my head. Just visions to what happened at the weekend. It's like, just pull him down. It would have called my booking in the middle of the park. You wouldn't get sent off for it. But of course, Celtic being Celtic in Europe, the most Celtic thing happened where he actually recovered, made the tackle, and ended up playing it right into the path of Nkunku, who the angle is getting away from him the entire time, but he still manages to go round the keeper. And even though the angle's getting smaller, still slots it away at the near post, even with Stevie Wells sliding in somewhat. That's the most Celtic goal ever conceded in Europe until we conceded the second goal, because it's like, oh my God, this could only happen to us. In terms of, what we do now, you've reached that proverbial fork in the road now where it's make or break. We're going to go one way or the other. It's either going to go catastrophically wrong, or we are going to, in a few weeks' time, be sitting here going, well, we qualified anyway. Why were we even worried in the first place? I'm worried for the second leg, though, because we're in a position now where we have to win, and Leipzig will be coming there with the attitude that we don't have to win. Celtic are going to do what they do and go all-out attack here, and I think this team showed they're very savvy on the counter-attack. Yeah, I think they're quite vulnerable at the back, and we made more than enough chances. Similar to the Shakhtar game a few weeks ago, all the chances in the world, but some composure, just something's lacking. As he maybe composure, it just could be... I can't put my finger on what it is. We even do it domestically. We squander a lot of chances. Games we could be winning a lot more. I don't know what's causing it, but Leipzig showed that they have got the capability to hit us on the counter here, and we're going to be very open next week. I've already seen some comments coming up as well, people saying that next week is a bogey. They will pick us off next week, and that concerns me. But yeah, it's again, it's just that fine example of in Scotland, you'll get away with it, missing a few of these chances. But see, at this level, if you don't take them, you're going to get punished. Going to get punished.
Johnny, this is it. I mean, this Red Bull team that we've seen tonight are Leipzig. I think it only says Leipzig now in their Champions League sort of moniker. So I don't know if they're trying to shift away from being known
It's
as
a
Red
UEFA
Bull
rule. It's one of those weird UEFA rules again because they've got a corporate name in their club name. They have to
Maybe
just call
falling for it
Leipzig.
anyway.
It's weird.
But Johnny, I do think like they could be got at, and I think Phil's absolutely right. We are going to be all out attack again, right? When we play Leipzig at home, okay, we will have to be because we need the 3 points. And it's funny that people would instantly think, well, with that Leipzig will pick us off. Well, not if we do our job when we're doing this all out attacking football, and that is put it in the back of the net. Something that Celtic seem to be just struggling to get to grips with in the Champions League, Johnny.
Yeah, well, when you talk about that picking us off, I mean, like, if we go back to your streetwise there, Russell, it's
Yeah, of course.
at least 2 of the goals tonight, and however many other times did they actually put us in some serious trouble from winning the ball on their own penalty area? Was it the first goal when McGregor lost the ball?
They break from our corner for the first goal.
Yeah.
It's our corner.
What was it? I heard them say in the telly something like from the corner getting taken to the ball in the back of our net, 17 seconds.
Yes, that's right.
Now, you're not going to tell me that we
Yeah, I know.
couldn't have had the opportunity to do something, even if it was, and I know we'd be fucking raging if somebody done it to us, but if the guy's getting away from you, he's coming down. You've got to
100%, mate.
You've got to take him down.
Stop being nice.
But I'll tell you
Stop being
something.
nice.
I'll tell you something. You won't remember this because this is not a new thing for Celtic. I remember some of our older viewers and colleagues will maybe remember this. Danny McGrain let Arthur Graham run away from him at Hampden in the League Cup final. And Arthur Graham ran half the length of the park and scored and beat us 2-1, I think it was. Steve McManaman had done it to us in the UEFA Cup. We
UEFA
just
Cup.
stood and let him fucking run through. And I'm screaming at the telly on both occasions, bring him fucking down.
Mm-hmm.
But they just let him run away. And we let that happen tonight at least 2 or 3 times, at least. That's part of being that streetwise, Boise. You've just got to... You don't have to try and break anybody's leg. Just you know what most of the footballers are like nowadays, just a good old shoulder charge and they'll be on their arse anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry?
A professional foul.
Yeah.
That's it.
But it's going to be interesting because, obviously we could go through, the good bits as well. I mean, I think the goal that we scored, Phil, was the really good side of Celtic. I thought Tati's through ball was brilliant. I thought it was brave. I think that's what it have to be in European competition at this level. You have to have faith in your ability as well. We appreciate, right, when we go into this competition, there's going to be some form of golf, whether it be expenditure or whether it just be players at a higher level than we're either used to playing against or than what we actually have to call upon ourselves. But all that being said, higher mountains than Leipzig have been climbed before, Phil. Right? Let's make no mistake about it. And bigger gulfs and bigger financial disparity, and all that pish has been, been able to be eradicated by Celtic teams of the past. Now, Hatate showed he thinks he belongs at this stage with that brilliant through ball. Kyogo does it, makes it look easy, and Jota finally shows that composure we're looking for at this level. An excellent finish to get it 1-0. Now, here's why I want to be positive about the goal, right? But not just positive for positive sake, Phil. Because we're going to caveat it with, when we go 1-0 in that second half, early bells, what does a manager do at this point? Particularly when we know what Ange does, right? What does a manager do that gets wins in Europe at the Champions League do when they've got perhaps lesser players, perhaps the game's going against them? Do you keep that going to 60 minutes and think maybe you can get a second? Or right from getting it back to 1-1, do you tighten up at some point? Do you go a wee bit more pragmatic? Is there a change in the style? Or is it got to be one way or the other way all times? One way or that's the only way, do you know what I mean? At all times, sorry.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because after the goal, like literally that was the last thing that I think we did of any note in that game because we seemed to just drop off a cliff just minutes later and it was just one-way traffic from the goal. What was it? Maybe the 50th minute? It was early in the second half, wasn't it? It was maybe just a few minutes in that we
still
scored.
Felt open though, didn't we?
Did I?
I
But it
don't
was.
forget. Like, I see if you're looking at it, you're going, Phil, if we've been bobbing on, there's been more attacks. This is what I'm trying to get at. 'Cause I'm like,
Aye.
now, I don't know if there was some sort of let's try and drop off a wee bit here, but it felt to me like we were still wide open, Phil, just
Oh.
creating fault out.
Huge. There's nothing. There's nothing going our way after that goal. But I mean, the second goal in particular, like I actually said to my dad during the game, we were watching it, as again, just talking that whole "woe always us" type of mentality, where we never ever concede a good goal in Europe. It's always like some stupidity that we do that causes it. And funny enough, the goal that the guy scores that gets disallowed for the boy crouching down, I went, fair enough, that's actually quite a good strike for once, nothing you can do about that one. And then we get a reprieve, and then we go, and this is what you're talking about, where maybe you change it up a wee bit. Obviously, we talk about the passing around at the back, passing it out. Joe Hart can see that there's two Leipzig players in very close proximity to the Celtic player he's about to pass. I think, was it maybe Taylor he was aiming it for? I can't remember.
Yeah.
And he looks up and he can see those two white shirts are close to him. And sometimes I just feel like maybe some players need to use a wee bit of their own sort of intuition here, where it's just like, I know the manager wants them to play this way and he wants me to do this, so this is how he wants us to start attacks. But if I go that route, I'm putting us in big danger here. And RB Leipzig read it like an absolute, they just read it like a book, and they were right on top of it.
Phil, what do you make of Joe Hart after the game? His instant reply was, "Oh, the manager wants us to play like this, so we know there's going to be mistakes."
Yeah, but there was an easier pass on for Hart than the one he tried to make.
Yep, I would agree with that.
I'm not sure who it was. It was more out on the touchline. It was that pass that Hart tried to make there. That's like, well, I'm going having a game of golf and I'm stuck behind some trees and I see a 4-inch gap between two trees and I've got a fucking football field to the left of them trees. And what does the idiot try and do? Try and puts it through the 3-inch gap of the trees. And what happens? Hits the tree, ends up 50 yards behind you. Play the percentage shot. There was an easier ball for Hart, and he's still playing the system.
He is.
The manager wants him to do it.
Exactly.
But that's a valid point as well. And then you've got to also go, if he's not seen that pass, right? And I don't know how, but let's just argue he's not seen it, because why the fuck wouldn't he have went for it, right? But let's say he's not for some reason seen it. He's been blinkered. See if that's you've got that option, or you've got the option that gets you a row off the manager. I would take the row off the manager every day of the week and just say, I didn't feel I could make that ball. See the angle I'm looking at it from, threading it through that gap. It ain't going to be Joe Hart's 40 at any point, right? He was the reason Pep Guardiola got rid of him is because he couldn't play with his feet. So
there's a reason most people are goalkeepers, isn't it? Because they're not actually very good at football.
Well,
yeah.
So why are you asking, why would you want a goalkeeper to try and pull off world-class passes? Because the 99% of the time, they can't do it.
Aye, that's a fair point.
It is. Well, I mean, that's one mistake. Now, when you make a mistake like that, okay, 2-1. We are still in the game at this point, Phil, but like you say, it doesn't feel as though Celtic are 2-1 down. To be honest with you, we're still that much in the game. I never got the vibe. I never had that buzz about me. 2-1, still in it. I don't know. And I don't know if that's maybe compounded, though, by the nature of the goal and the fact that obviously just had one chalked off. Also from open play, and you're thinking, fucking hell, 37 seconds out, the ball is in the net anyway. And you start to go, maybe they are just going through the gears here or whatever. However, all that being said, at 2-1, I find it hard to believe, particularly the natural attacking style that we've got, that we can't create anything after that, Phil. Is there a lot of that to do with, McGregor being injured? How big a blow is it going to be if Carl McGregor's injured? Because I think the pace in the midfield, when he's getting it, I was starting these moves. We spoke about it at length already with regards to Aaron Moy and his lack of. But tonight, it's not Moy. It's an Applegard that comes on, and I thought he did all right, by the way. At times he did okay. But are we getting that pace? Are we getting that pace in from defence to midfield? Is cutting him, Cal McGregor setting up attacks. Are we doing it at the same pace that we can when he's not in the team? Are we able to do that? No, but before you know it, if that's going to be the attitude, we're going to sign about 4,000 holding midfielders. There's got to be another way to it, you know.
Well, the one way it's going to catch, as you often say on here, but
exactly.
Mate, I'm glad that you said that as well, because I had the exact same sort of vibe even when we're 2-1 down. Because the logic tells you're only a goal behind, and there was still 25 minutes, 20 minutes on the clock. So you're like, we're still only keep. We've made plenty of chances in the game. Okay, yeah, since the goal we dropped off, but I don't know. I had some weird apathy about it, and I don't know if it was because of the 2 goals we conceded were just so typically us. I was just like, game's a bogey, man. You just had that sort of defeatist attitude, and I'm like, it shouldn't be like that. You're only a goal behind, but something just didn't click at all just after. And what David Kelly said there, the comment is up, Leipzig did go up the gears after we scored. It did feel like that, but we just seemed to make nothing. And then when we did concede the 3rd goal, then it was with James Forrest and Giakoumakis came on. I mean, that's a couple of games now where Giakoumakis has came on when we're 2 goals behind, and I'm starting to feel like, what's this guy going to do, man? It's a bit like, now you need to get on and try and save us. Okay, yeah, I know he'd had a knock previously, but you're waiting until we're 2 goals behind. There's obviously St Mirren and then this one the night, and it's like he had 9 minutes left on the clock when he came on. I think it was like 81 minutes when he came on, and it's like,
I know
that's not going to change anything, man. It was so weird when we were still technically in the game by all accounts, and you're just like, you just felt like this isn't going to be, but just nothing's happening here at all. It was so surreal to watch, and you shouldn't feel that way in that scenario. You shouldn't at all.
Well, let's go through the substitutes, Johnny, and I want your honest take on these substitutes for Champions League football. So Abelgard comes on for his Celtic debut in the first half for Callum McGregor, right? Then on 75 minutes, it's the double substitution time, and it's James Forrest and Haksabanovic, who I think we've all been, relatively impressed with.
Yeah, on the little bits we've seen of him, I would say, yeah, he looks like if he's given a proper opportunity, I think he could be a player for us. Yeah.
Forrest at this level?
Listen, I was a James Forrest fan in his Rodgers years, but when I seen him come out today, I thought he's not going to turn this round. He's not going to be the catalyst to change. I don't know what Ange was thinking that he would bring, but I just thought I'm not impressed with that one. And I do like Forrest. I did like Forrest, whichever way you want to put it. But I think he's had by far his best days are behind him, and his game-changing days are behind him as well.
I think that's probably true.
I wasn't thinking, oh yes, come on James, get on there. He'll sort something out.
Yeah.
Didn't feel it.
The reason I'm saying this that I came to you is because Phil used the word apathy in that second half, and you did feel a bit like when you seen James Forrest come on, like, it's unlikely, isn't it? It's unlikely something's going to happen. Giakoumakis, as you say, I mean, he gets 8-9 minutes, Phil. I don't know what the story is there. The thing is, see if he's got to be that cautious to Giakoumakis like he seems to be, Phil. Let's just get one thing abundantly clear. 2 strikers weren't fucking enough for us then, right? We needed a 3rd striker. That was blatantly obvious now. If Giakoumakis needs to be wrapped up in cotton wool this much with an injury, not saying Giakoumakis agrees with that necessarily, but we've seen Kyogo go off in games. We've seen Giakoumakis pick up plenty of knocks last year. I just think if we can't influence a game with a striker off the bench for 82 minutes when we've not created anything at that point for that would be over half an hour.
I definitely
like that. What's the missing link here in the middle? We've not got a striker on there. You've got to be able to freshen things up at that time. And if Giakoumakis can't do that, then who else have we got? Oh, I'll tell you who. No one. I also believe when it comes to the Champions League sort of standard of football, Phil, and you've got the 5 sub rule. There was no excuse not to have that extra option there, because there's going to be plenty of games where we had adversity. No one was saying when we were talking about bringing in a 3rd striker that it means Kyogo or Giakoumakis need dropped or anything like that. But bring that competition back to the party again. That would have been good. I wonder if you look at that in January. Who knows? There was other performances. I mean, we could go through them. I think Welsh and Jens, it's a difficult one there. I think it is a difficult one. The fullbacks I thought did okay at times. Greg Taylor probably slightly shading it, but not by much. I thought they both did okay at times. Maeda.
Yes.
I don't know. Go for it.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat as you on that one. Maeda, I'm beginning to wonder what he's really bringing. I know a lot of Celtic fans on the on social media are like, "Oh, so Maeda's turned into the whipping boy now," and it's like, but justify to me what he's really bringing. Oh, he presses really well, and it's like he makes space for other players, and it's like, I didn't really see that tonight. I mean, Maeda is definitely, we were talking about it, the striker, the third striker option. I think that was Ange's plan, that he would be the third striker if needs be. But when you've also got injuries to the wingers, then Maeda needs to play out there, and obviously with Abada not being available tonight. So again, the night, that's why we were so disjointed when it came to forward options. With Giakoumakis coming on so late, Maeda, maybe if he was on the bench originally, maybe he could have came on at the time, but he had to start the night. So I don't know what he's bringing though. Like, I'm lost. He's got one goal so far this season against Ross County in that cup game. I don't know in terms of like assists. It's not got much in terms of assists. I think it's against Rangers. He got one of the goals for Abada. Did he assist for that, or am I thinking of the one back to last season? Because the two of them are merging into each other, the 3-0 game and the 4-0 game.
Yeah, it's this season. I'm trying to think which one.
Yeah, one where he crossed it back from the left-hand side. I'm pretty sure, but either way, it's still like the numbers aren't that great, and it's like,
quick question for you.
Aye.
How surprised were you when he put that one decent cross in tonight that Kyogo got his head to? When he ran down the wing and he actually put the...
Yeah.
I was fucking gobsmacked. I just thought, wow.
Aye. Because great save for the goalkeeper, to be fair, man. That was a goal-bound header.
But it's when you've got a man who's meant to be a winger, if he is meant to be a winger, because apparently in Japan he played more through the middle, but we're playing him out wide. So if the guy's playing out wide, I expect him to be, especially if he's a winger, not fullback, be able to get it down the wing from whatever side and put a good ball in. And how often does Maeda put that kind of ball in? I know he's put in some crosses that have, but they've not been that type. On the run, putting the ball in. And when he went there, I thought, you're wasting your time there. And it was actually a good cross. And Kyogo got his head to it. And like you said, Phil, the keeper did make a good save off for that one. But the fact that you're surprised at it answers your question, Ross.
Does.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to think what he really is bringing, and just the way things are with the squad at the moment. It's
Abada was missing because
the Yom Kippur.
The Jewish festival.
Yep. We missed a game this time last year in the Europa League, I believe, as well, for the same reason. Yep.
Not much we can do about that.
No, exactly.
If that's how it rolls. I mean, no, again, I look at that, then, you're looking at the Haksabanovic option there and thinking, again, I've spoken about this before, Phil. What is his gut feeling right now as to how he's been utilised at Celtic and by Celtic? It must be weird. Like, he starts the last Champions League game for us. He comes straight in from the goal. He hasn't started a game since. He was hooked at half time in that game, despite getting an assist.
Yep.
I find the way Haksabanovic has been used quite hard to fathom what the sort of reasons are and are not for Haksabanovic getting more involvement. Of course, the manager's paid to make these decisions, Phil, and there's no disputing that. Maeda's maybe got a wee bit of credit in the back from last year, but people aren't panicking about Maeda as we need a whipping boy. See all that bollocks, right? Who's looking for a whipping boy? It doesn't make sense. It's just a nonsense, stupid statement when you're being over defensive because you've not got a footballing argument to bring to the table about it, Phil, to be perfectly honest with you. Now, Maeda's form has been okay at best.
Yeah.
Nowhere near what it was last season, in my opinion. And I think his actual contributions to the game in terms of stretching defences. There was one moment tonight, he peels away up the right wing in the second half, and then the defenders seemed to catch him almost quite, I don't know, easily.
Yeah.
It was like he didn't go into fifth gear, he didn't really put the foot down with his pace, and nobody's asking him to, when he's dribbling, to keep the ball like a magnet at his feet. We know that's not going to be.
Yeah.
You just need to punt it that 10 yards in front of you, wee man. Do it. But I don't know, was there a hesitance in his game a wee bit? Jake, he's acutely aware that, wow, they are of a higher standard at this level. I'm not. Do you know the example I'm talking about? It was a weird.
Yeah, because to be honest with you, Russell, it wasn't just that occasion. I mean, during the first, I was wondering if I was imagining it, and I think it must just be that the players he's now up against are actually faster than what he's used to in Scotland. Because I'm looking at him thinking he doesn't look that lightning fast tonight. Now, whether he's not running at 100% or operating at 100%, but there was a few times in the first half I thought, if that was back home against Aberdeen or Rangers or whatever, he's fucking leaving these guys for dead. I mean, like I said, the one that was it Goldson got booked for taking him down when he was leaving him for dead in the 4-0 game. Never looked like doing that tonight.
Aye. The comment that's up on the screen there from Atomic Destructor 1, I think is a good one. My dad said this when we watched it. He's very, very lightweight and gets pushed off the ball very easily. When somebody does catch up to him, they're quite easy muscling him off the ball, and that did happen a few times. See the example you're talking about, Russell? Is that the one where he ran it towards the corner flag and then kind of stumbled over the ball and went for a goal kick? He was trying to win a corner off the defender and kind of miscontrolled it. Is it that one?
Aye. But
he had loads of space to run into.
Aye. I don't know. It just felt like he was being really hesitant. But I think his directness is going to be one of his greatest assets at football. You know, for us, I think at times, you know, being direct and having pace, etc., might be the attributes we're looking for in you, Maida. Even if it looks naive at times, go for it. But don't you start overthinking it, big boy, because that can remove, you know, these assets that you obviously are naturally gifted with. That really, I think, are, you know, make you a dangerous sort of weapon. I just thought it was really poignant when you see it. I thought, wow, that was like he didn't believe there to, you know, to use his pace or whatever. David Lowe's coming in saying the German left back is frighteningly fast, so don't doubt that. I'd still like to see Maida at full throttle against him and at least getting us up the park. If the left back wins the ball, we might have a corner, we might have a free kick out it, but I don't know. He just seemed to be second guessing almost himself at times.
Yeah. It was that boy, is it Rom or something like that, the left back for Leipzig? Because I thought it was the Spanish player that still had Angelino, but he scored against Rangers last season in the first leg of the Europa League game. But he transferred to, I believe, Hoffenheim. There's now another guy called Rom, R-A-U-M. And yeah, he is quite a quick player. But yeah, I did feel that Maida the night. There was like moments where it was just a breeze for the defenders to catch up to him. Can't he seem to get up to full pace here? That was a strange one. So I'm lost with Maida in terms of what he's really bringing to the game. But I think as well, you mentioned Haksabanovic. I believe when he came on for O'Reilly. There's somebody that I think we need to look at as well. I've said a couple of times on the show this season, I feel O'Reilly's start to the season has been, the word I've used is safe. I feel like he's played within himself a wee bit compared to what we saw last season. And I felt tonight as well, I thought he was quite... It just wasn't really in it at all. There was one point where in the second half when we were behind, but Kyogo was cutting across the edge of the 18-yard box like he was always going to line up a shot, and O'Reilly literally just runs across his path and kind of clumsily takes the ball off him, and it's just like, oh, this is so typical of us on a European night. You know, we've got our own players tripping over each other and stuff like that. But I feel like O'Reilly's just been... I wouldn't say he's playing bad or really like pile on him and stuff, but I just feel like he's just playing within himself. That's probably the best way I can describe it. I feel like there's more there. We know there's more in him, but he's just not really been able to show it so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's maybe question marks over a few of the squad. You know, we've never seen a lot of them at this level either. Now, domestically, there's loads of credit in the bank. I think, you know, at this level, there's obviously a lot of unknowns, and we might have a wee bit more of a better idea as to where we're at come the end of this group. And no matter what happens, I mean, obviously, Johnny, the Champions League is where we want to be. This is where we need to get back to again this year, and that's where domestic football will take sort of that priority again to allow us into getting it. But I mean, to compete at this level, I don't know. I just feel like there's players in that team that came in the summer that are either of the ability of ones that were already there or lesser ability. And I'm not quite sure. I know it was heralded as the best transfer window ever, but was it? I think the Cameron Carter-Vickers and Jota, I think they're two first-team starters. Haksabanovic, no one knows if he was brought in to be a first-team starter. Same with Abildgaard. No one knows if he was actually brought in to be a first-team starter. He might have to be now if Kalmak's injured.
Yeah.
Jens, was, I think, maybe meant to be someone who was really competing with Starfelt. I think a lot of people want to see Starfelt go back in ahead of him now. And then you've got the interesting case in goals. Joe Hart, he has been not in the best form either recently, right? And it sounds like we're going through every player individually and slagging them all. But genuinely, I think there will come a time where Siegrist will get a chance. He will get a chance in this team. Would you be doing it now, Johnny? Would you look at me doing that? Or do you think Hart's made a big blooper there? You kind of need to support him a wee bit. He's always been good for us. I mean, do you think maybe he just needs, to get back, another game under his belt? Or is that one mistake too many now when we start looking at the Siegrist option realistically? We were told he was coming in for proper competition for Joe Hart.
I think Siegrist's time is coming, and I think it's coming soon. And I did say when I was speaking to you before on your Russell, that I was quite happy with that signing. Even before we signed him, I'd said to that young man that's on the screen at the minute, David, I'd said to him, I'd have him. I'd have him and go. And that was long before we signed him, because he actually sent me back saying he's going to the other side of the city, which disappointed me when I heard that. But I like Siegrist. I think, in fairness, I've only ever seen him play against us, really. But I've liked the look of what he does. I think his chance is coming. If it doesn't come on, so Saturday we play St Johnstone Saturday.
St Johnstone Saturday, yeah.
If he doesn't play then, I think is it the League Cup after that against Motherwell, is it?
We've got the 19th of October, we've got that Motherwell. I think he'll play, because he played against Ross County in the last round.
Even if it's only used as the different goal, I'm going to play this keeper in the League Cup, blah, blah, blah. But I think Siegrist's chance is coming, and I think he'll be ready for it when it does come. Whether it's going to come after tonight, and it was a right howler from Hart. There's no getting away from that one. It caused the goal, but it wasn't like it was a weak shot at him that he'd let trickle through his arms. I know he's let a few in lately. I don't think he's going to get dropped just yet, but it's coming soon, I think. I think it is coming.
Johnny, you just need to look at the example across the city with what's happened to their goalkeeper situation. Obviously, they were led to believe that McGregor was retiring. They gave him the big send-off in the cup final. They never signed another keeper. He signed a year extension. They put all the confidence in McLaughlin. He has a howler against us. Well, he had a few howlers, but obviously he passed that one right to Davy Turnbull. They dropped him right away to reinstate 41-year-old Alan McGregor. I think if we were to just drop Joe Hart right away off the back of that, it would really dent the guy's confidence. Siegrist will definitely play the cup game, I reckon. But I'm led to believe as well, I didn't see the post-match comments because I was too disgusted with what was going on. I was like, I don't want to watch it. But I'm led to believe, I saw on Twitter that Joe Hart did get interviewed in the post-match and basically just said, the second goal's completely my fault and I completely take the blame for it. Essentially just put his hands up. He didn't try and sugarcoat it in any way and try and sort of make an excuse for it. It was just like, it's my fault. So he does take it on board, I guess.
We will look now, Phil, because I know you had an interesting take as to that we might still be able to get out of this group.
Yes.
How are we going to get out the group? And just take it away, Phil McGinley. What do Celtic need to go in their favour, and what do Celtic need to do themselves?
On paper, it sounds
give us some hope.
On paper, it sounds so simple, right? Celtic win the next two games. And Real Madrid, if they win the night, and I believe they are going by the comments, I believe Real are still winning, yep. And if Real can win their next two games, then it means on fixture number 6, match day 6, Celtic will have 7 points, Shakhtar would have 4 points, and Leipzig would still be on 3. So Shakhtar, if they tied level with us, because we would have beat them at home, we'd have a better record than them, and it goes by record against. So we would actually finish second. It would actually be like we would sneak through the back door with 7 points. But of course, with Celtic being Celtic, there's always going to be a spanner in the works. Obviously, we need Real Madrid, who you think would be the team you would be so happy to do you a favour because it's Real Madrid. You just have a funny feeling in the back of your head that something's going to go wrong for them either tonight or in the next two games. They're going to drop some snidey points somewhere. Shakhtar or something will nick a point off them. But if all goes according to plan and Real Madrid win, and then we win our next two games, which are at home, but we need also caveat this. Our home record has not been good recently in Europe. There's this thing about, remember the Martin O'Neill and the Gordon Strachan years? Yes, fondly. We were so good at home in that decade. But ever since the 2010s, our home record has been, other than one season under Lennon, in the Champions League. Our home record has been abysmal. So it's easier said than done. But that's the way it stands right now. If Real Madrid win the next 3 games and we win our next 2 games, Celtic have actually qualified in second place and will play in the Champions League in the second half of the season. Incredible.
Amazing. And on that note, we will call it. And I know it's been a disappointing one for everyone tonight with the defeat. But as Phil has just told you, there'll still be the next round of the Champions League. No bother, guys. No bother.
Yeah,
Put your tickets for the final, folks.
Yeah, get your tickets booked, guys. Get them booked.
But yes, it's good always to end the show on a positive note. A big thank you to Phil McGinley and Johnny Lowe for joining me for some post-match pish. Everyone in the comments has been absolutely loads of you, so don't forget to hit the like button, hit the share button, hit subscribe if you've not already subscribed. If you want to become a Boise Buzz member, that is completely optional and all that good stuff. Phil McGinley, it has been a pleasure having you both on.
Do you need me doing the end video for it? Was he working for you earlier? Or you still got that glitch?
Just you do it since we're live, mate.
Okay, no problem then. So we'll catch you later, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.